And now, ABC presents 2020 in an instant.
Yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
I was getting ready for work.
Bye.
It was about 8:50 p.m. I heard a knock at the door.
Hi.
And then all of a sudden he pulls out a gun. And that's when things got real. All I knew then was that the name of the man who had kidnapped me was Vince.
Get over here!
I was scared, but I did not want him to know I was scared.
Get the money!
If Ashley doesn't fight, Ashley dies.
You don't tell a girl that you're just gonna take her back to an RV and rape her and then you're gonna kill her. You just don't say that to a girl. My name is Ashley Ware, and I grew up in Frazee, Minnesota, which is a small town in Lakes Country. Lakes Country is just beautiful in Minnesota. It's like a whole nother world. It's a lifestyle. Everyone just knows each other. It's like we're one big family on the lake.
I always remember the population as being 1,284 people. It's very small, you know everybody when you walk down the street. Ashley, growing up, was always very compassionate. She has a warm personality. She's very good at making you feel at home around her. So it didn't surprise me at all when she decided to go on to college and then become an LPN and then an RN.
Hi, Mr. Russell. Are you hungry? Ready for dinner? Okay.
I grew up working in the local nursing home in our small town, and I actually grew up working in the kitchen, washing dishes, and I saw how the other nurses' aides would help bring their residents to the table and put their bibs on and help feed them and more hands-on care, and I saw that. I loved that, and I just really wanted to do more for them.
I've got it. Don't worry about it. I got it, okay? No problem.
I've basically worked in the healthcare field my entire life.
How'd you feel if I came back and had dinner with you? How about that?
I love being a nurse, and I love just to help others and to give in any way that I can.
I'll be right back. Coming right back.
In 2008, I was 23 and living in North Fargo in a really cool house. I lived alone with my cat / best friend, and it was great. I was living in the top of the house, so it was made into an apartment.
Yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay. Bye.
I was getting ready for work. I was in full-time school at that time and working. I was working night shifts as an LPN at a little nursing home there. I was in my bathroom, just spraying my hair, and I heard a knock at the door. It was about 8:50 p.m., and it was Schwann's van time. Schwann's is a food delivery service. I was actually excited because it was the Schwann's van, and I was going to have some time to look through the magazine and pick out some good ice creams or whatever I was going to get at the time. And it was not the Schwann's van.
Hi. Can I help you?
It was very strange. There was a guy I'd never seen before just standing outside knocking on my door. Growing up in the area that I did, it was not uncommon at all to open your door to anybody who's knocking. I just opened it up. Hey, who are you? What can I do for you? No big deal. Minnesota nice.
Can I help you?
I need a ride.
I'm sorry, have we met?
I'm Mike. My car's in the shop. I need a ride. You gotta give me a ride.
It was really just weird, unexpected. He had a buzz cut, he had a tattoo on his neck, he had a blue hoodie on, just not like someone I had ever seen before.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't even know you and I have to get to work, so...
I need to get Moorhead.
Look, I'm sure you're a nice guy, but I don't have time to drive you anywhere, so I'm sorry.
He is looking for a ride, which was kind of bizarre, and I told him, I have to go to work. I can't give you a ride. You know, I don't know you. And I didn't really understand, and I looked at him, and then all of a sudden I could tell he was kind of uneasy, and had his hands in his pocket of his sweatshirt kind of fumbling around. And then all of a sudden he pulls out a gun and he says, "No, you're giving me a ride."
No, you're giving me a ride.
And that's when things got real.
Okay.
Is this real life? Is this happening? This is nuts. He's got a gun? I can't believe this is happening. It was like a scene out of a movie. I almost didn't take it seriously. It was hard to take serious because I'm a Minnesotan. This doesn't happen in Minnesota, you know. It kind of took me a little bit to register what was going on. I just kind of was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, I just need to find my keys.
Then find them.
We have to find the car keys. And of course, knowing me, I have no idea where my car keys are.
Okay, they might be in my room, so I'm gonna check in there.
2 minutes.
Okay.
I'm scrambling around looking for my keys, but I remember thinking, oh, I wish I had my cell phone on me so I could call 911, but I just didn't have the chance because it was in the other room and he would have seen me.
You know what 2 minutes means?
They're here. They're here. I just don't know where they are. Why don't you check in the kitchen? Maybe they're there, and then we can go.
They better be there.
So here we're both running around my house looking for my keys, and I'm in my bedroom digging around.
All right, you're done.
Okay, I got him. We can go.
Leave everything else.
I just remember walking down the stairs into my car and seeing the lights were on and my landlord downstairs and really wanting to scream or do something to get their attention. It was like almost in slow-mo as I was walking by, seeing them in the window. It just didn't feel like the right time. I felt like that would have really aggravated him and he would have shot me then and there. He looked rough on the edges and like he had been through a lot, had a hard life. Angry.
This side.
He has me get in the car through the passenger side, which was kind of odd. I have to listen to him and have to give him a ride until I figure something else out. From leaving my house in Fargo, we drove east, basically, into Minnesota. Fargo-Moorhead is technically one big community, even though it's in 2 different states.
Where are we going?
Max.
In Moorhead?
Yeah.
he said we are going to Max, behind Max. It was a hardware store. During this whole thing, I was scared, but I did not want him to know I was scared.
Fear is all about power. If you can scare someone, then you feel like you have won. I've spent the past 5 years understanding people in a state of fear. When Ashley didn't allow herself to show Vincent that she was afraid, it's really a sort of subtle manipulation of the other person.
Instead of kind of freezing up and just quiet and scared of the gun, my defense mechanism was, let's try and make this guy feel comfortable, non-threatened. I'm not going to be that victim that, you know, he needs to worry about. Kind of mindset is what I was thinking and hoping.
So, are you from around here?
No, Bloomington. Careful.
Every traffic light that we hit, it just turned yellow, just as I was driving under it.
Careful. You trying to get us pulled over?
No, I'm just driving like normal.
You're running lights.
No, you can drive through yellows. I promise, I'm driving like I always do.
He, at one point, turned to me and kind of snapped at me and said, "What are you doing? You're going to get us pulled over." It was weird because he was kind of waving the gun by the window, and I remember thinking, well, he's going to get us pulled over, not me.
You are the one that's going to get us pulled over waving that gun around.
You stop at the red, you stop at the yellow, you go at the green.
At this point, I was just trying to focus on how do I get out of this one. Part of being a nurse is knowing how to develop a relationship with your patients. I work in the emergency department, so you see a lot of different things. You see a lot more psych type stuff, and you have to have a certain demeanor to deal with them.
Sorry, are you cold? Do you want me to turn the heat up?
Just drive.
So, Mike, what kind of gun is that? A 9?
22.
I really didn't know much about handguns, but I just wanted a conversation. I was going to try to just be real with this guy, and this sounds strange, but make him feel more comfortable and non-threatened, so he maybe just didn't want to kill me. I wanted him to feel like it's all going to work out smooth until I could figure out what I was going to do to get out of the situation.
So, what are you doing in this neck of the woods in Fargo?
Just got out of Supermax.
Prison.
Yeah, prison.
What for?
Robbery. Robbed a bakery.
Did you get any donuts?
You know this is a kidnapping, right?
And I was just kind of goofing around with him, and I'm like, well, did you get any donuts? And he didn't find that very funny. He just kind of looked at me.
You may think that she's not taking this seriously because she is cracking jokes, but really she has a goal in mind about how am I going to get myself out of this situation.
I was just talkative, and it just wasn't your average kidnapping.
You think this is a joke?
Mike, I'm sorry.
You think this is a joke? I'm gonna kill some cops tonight. Is that funny? Keep making small talk. And my name's not Mike. It's Vince.
Okay, Vince.
It was at that point when finally he said, my name's not Mike, it's Vince.
I met Vincent DeGidio my first year in Bloomington. Bloomington is a second-ring suburb of Minneapolis and has a population of about 85,000.
Vincent DeGidio lived in the city of Bloomington all of his life. He grew up there. I've known him since he was about 10 years old. Vincent was kind of a loner, didn't have many friends. I think growing up, it wasn't one of the best family lives for a person to grow up in. DeGidio, as he was growing up, had a number of contacts with the Bloomington Police Department.
All of my contacts with Vince from the time I met him were in some type of enforcement. He was a juvenile delinquent, and he was out past curfew, often involved in crimes. We had seen a pattern of burglaries in the area around his grandfather's home where he was living.
On 1/14 of '99, I set up a surveillance on his grandparents' home and observed him casing homes to maybe possibly burglarize.
Shortly after we were following him, he walked into a strip mall and went into one of the stores there, a bakery. At that time, we figured he was going to get something to eat and continue walking around.
Stay back! Shut up! Stay where you are.
Shortly after he went in, he came running down the front of the strip mall, and at that same time, we got a 911 call from the bakery saying that they had just been robbed. I spoke to the store employee after we had taken him into custody. She said that he came in and selected a donut, came up to the register to pay for it and put it down on the counter and produced a $5 bill to pay for it. She opened the register and he tried to reach into the register and take the money, and she slammed the register on his fingers. He then reached in his pocket and pulled out about an 8-inch knife and told her to give him the money. He got about a half block away and we stopped him. Right when we took him into custody, he said, "I give up, you got me."
We arrested him and recovered a dagger from his coat pocket along with the cash from the cash register. When I asked him about the dagger, he said the dagger was actually given to him when he was younger by his father.
Vincent was sentenced to 9 years for committing the robbery and those burglaries. After Vincent had been in prison for a while, we received notification that he had threatened to kill the detectives that were responsible for putting him in prison.
So what about you, Vincent? What's the plan after this?
I don't care.
You don't care what happens to you after you serve your sentence?
Nah, I don't care. I really only care about finding the officers who put me in here, shooting them in the head.
Yeah, I think Vincent was capable of doing about anything that he set his mind to. If he was going to hurt somebody, he could certainly be capable of carrying that out.
Crime is pretty stable in the Fargo-Moorhead area. We get, maybe 1 or 2 robberies that are legitimate every year.
Can I help you?
Answering the door is second nature in our community. There's still a lot of people who live in that community who don't lock their doors at night. So for her to get a knock at the door and answer the door and have a conversation with the person, there's no red flags to that.
I'm sorry, have we met?
I'm Mike. My car's in the shop. I need a ride. You gotta give me a ride.
Where we grow up has a huge impact on how we live our lives as adults. If you've never had an experience that would tell you that it's not safe to open a door to a stranger, then you have no reason to think that that would be a bad idea.
I was trying to just keep the mood light and like it was not a big deal. This really wasn't a kidnapping, and almost so I could maybe convince him. I was trying to convince myself that it wasn't, as a defense mechanism.
Pull in here.
Finally, we get to Max, and I didn't know why he wanted to go there. The whole trip in the car probably took about 10 to 15 minutes. And I pulled into the parking lot, and I honestly thought that I was gonna be done at that point. I thought that I was gonna drop him off and I was gonna go to work, and that was the end of it.
Okay, well, you're here.
Turn the car off.
Look, you gotta go. I have to get to work.
He kind of looked at me and he's like, "You're coming with me, you're coming with me." And I said, "Well, I can't, I gotta go to work. You gotta go." And he's like, "No, you're coming with me." And he took my keys.
I'm a nurse and I can't be late for work, so don't worry, I won't say anything. It'll be fine.
No, you're coming with me. Turn off the headlights. This side.
Where are we going?
RV.
Why?
Because that's where I'm gonna rape you. And then I'm gonna kill you.
He said, "I'm going to rape you and then I'm going to kill you."
Vince, you don't want to do this. Please don't do this.
And I was just following him saying, "Are you sure you want to rape and kill me? Are you sure about that? Come on, let's just go back. I got to go to work." And I just kept kind of trying to bug him so maybe he would change his own mind.
Vince, come on. You don't really want to do this, do you? Please don't do this. Vince, look, this isn't really what you want, is it?
Shut up.
Please, Vince. You don't really want to do this, do you?
Go.
Well, look, I don't even know where we're going, and it's really dark, so maybe you should go first.
I remember saying, "You know what? I don't really want to go first. It's dark. You're the guy. You go first, because I can't see anything, and you've been here more than me. So why don't you go first?" Hoping he'd fall for it. Thank God he did. There was a gate, and you could close it and lock the latch. And I remember thinking, that's not good. Because I want it to be easily accessible so I can swing it open and run when the time comes right.
Just forget it. I mean, if you're gonna do this, let's just go.
Yeah, it's fine.
At that point, he didn't feel threatened and he didn't think I was going to run because of the way I had been treating him in the car, which was my goal. Because I had just been so kind of nonchalant with him and calm and asking him all these questions, I think he just assumed that I wasn't going to run. So he was actually walking like 3 feet in front of me. It's not like he was dragging me like, you know, a scene out of a movie. So then I started slowing down and waited for him to get in front of me, slower and slower. I remember looking up at the sky, and I remember praying. I said, Lord Jesus, you tell me what to do when, and I'll do it. You don't tell a girl that you're just gonna take her back to an RV and rape her and then you're gonna kill her. You just don't say that to a girl. I am now running on the open property next to the Max hardware store towards the main road, running like back and forth in zigzags. Because I figured, well, he's probably going to shoot me now. And just kind of clenching my body, just kind of waiting for it, feeling like, oh, this is going to hurt because he's probably going to shoot me. This is really going to hurt. Hopefully he'll miss because I'm running in zigzags. And I see a car there. I think it was an SUV with 2 men in it, and I was excited because I thought that this was finally over and they were going to help me get out of the situation.
Help me! Help me! Help me! No, wait! Wait! Help me! Help me!
They saw me and they wouldn't let me in the car, and I made signals with my hand. I made a gun signal, and I was banging on the windows, and I said, he's got a gun, help me. And they looked at me, and they gave me just a weird look, almost like a creepy smile, and they drove away.
No!
I couldn't believe that they drove away. Like, how could you drive away when a girl is running up to you? They saw the situation, they saw him. I was mad. At that point, it felt like I was starting all over again. I'm looking around, trying to figure out what to do next, and I see the business next door. And there's a light still on. So, I run. And literally probably get 10 feet, not very far, and catches up with me. And he kind of grabs me, and he is ticked.
Why did you run? Why did you run? Why did you run?
He puts the gun to my right side, and he's pushing in, and he asked me, why did you run? Why are you running? And I said, because you just told me you're going to rape and kill me.
Don't shoot me!
We're going back!
No!
Go or I shoot you!
No!
Right here!
He said, we're going back to the RV, we're going back to the RV. And I was like, I don't think so. He's like, well, I'm going to shoot you right here.
They'll find me, they'll find my blood all over your fingerprints all over.
I was trying to figure out in my head what to do next, and so I needed time to think, what do I do from here? So I pretended I was having an asthma attack. I could pretend that I was trying to get better breaths, and so then I could look around and have a better view of lit up areas just to make sure maybe I had some other options or if there's anything closer.
Where is it?
So I'm there pretending I can't breathe, huffing and puffing. At one point, I think I even asked him, I said, you don't happen to have an inhaler on you, do you? I'm having an asthma attack. You gotta help me, Vince. I'm having an asthma attack. He was kind of flustered. He didn't really have like a good grasp on me. I had no other choice. I just ran. I was not going to let Vince rape and kill me. Not gonna happen.
Vince DeGidio is my cousin. When I was younger, we would always get together. Vince was always just a little mischievous. You know, he wasn't real bad at first. But after he got out of jail from the bakery incident, he didn't have anywhere to go. Vince's sister, Sarah, she said, well, you can come up and live with me. In Fargo, they never had what I would consider an easy time. They really raised each other, Sarah and Vince did. They were in an abusive household with drug addicts and criminals and alcoholics. They never had what I would consider a normal situation. I never saw him as really violent. I saw him as a little troublemaker, but somewhere along the line, Vince became violent.
I believe that he started escalating in his crimes because he had no good family life. And I think he wanted to make a name for himself and also to show that he was tough.
He had threatened to kill the detectives that were responsible for putting him in prison.
I'm scared to kill a cop. I'll kill any cop on the street, anyone who steps up.
He said if he couldn't find them, that he would look for other officers and get in a shootout with them. If he couldn't find another officer to kill, he would take hostages and start killing the hostages until the police got there and he could shoot out with the police.
I'm no coward. Or maybe I go to a grocery store, line everybody up. Bam, bam. Then they'll come, and they can try me. I don't care if I get shot. I hope they shoot me.
He wanted to die, and he wanted the police to shoot him.
A couple weeks after he had moved in with his sister, Vincent had apparently entered a North Dakota State University building near downtown. An employee had walked into the bathroom and found Vincent holding what appeared to be a handgun. The employee then contacted Fargo police. They arrested him, and that made me actually feel like maybe he would do something else. After what happened in the Fargo-Moorhead area, I came to realize that he wasn't just talking, that he actually did what he said he was going to do.
Where are we going?
RV.
Why?
Because that's where I'm gonna rape you. And then I'm gonna kill you.
Every time Vince kept saying he was going to rape and kill me, I just knew in my mind that wasn't happening. And I had security in myself, knowing that. And as opportunities opened up, I just decided to take them.
Not everyone would have reacted as Ashley did. While the threat response is universal, it is very individualized. Ashley had a very kind of efficient threat response. One that allowed her to maintain a rational, logical thought process so that she was able to feel strong and fight.
My inhaler.
What? In this situation, she just at one point decided, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die fighting.
Finally, I make it to the front door of the auto parts store, and I'm banging on the door. I'm like, you gotta let me in. Please just let me in. I need help. And they kind of opened the door up just a little bit and just kind of shoved it and ran past him. I was running towards the back of the store looking for an exit door. And of course, no exit door.
Get over here!
When I came back from running and looking for an exit door, he had those two men out at gunpoint, and now their lives were in jeopardy.
Stand right where you are. Stand right over here. Where's your money?
It's in the back.
Go get it.
Go! Get the money!
Help him. Help him. Stand right here.
It was almost like he just last minute he decided to rob the store, so then he kind of shuttled the employees into the front room by the front desk and demanded money.
Get a bag.
Give me the bag! Hurry up!
Keep bringing. Bring the rest.
I trusted God. If I prayed, I just knew somehow I'd get out of it. And so I prayed.
What did
DeGidio saw an opportunity to commit robbery while he's there. Now remember, Ashley knows that not only her life is in danger, but the lives of the auto parts store workers are in danger.
Just get arrested.
Anytime you put somebody in prison, you always have to worry about when they get out, are they going to take some type of revenge? On the day he was going to be released, the caseworker told me that Vincent told him he was going to move to Moorhead, Minnesota, to live with his sister who had moved there. Because I had worked in Fargo, North Dakota, which is across the river from Moorhead, I felt obligated to at least contact the Moorhead Police Department to just give them a little history on Vincent. He stated the reason he was going to die is because at the time of his release, he was going to start shooting cops, as many as he could. He also stated that if he couldn't find any cops, he was going to rob a store, hold people hostage, and kill them one at a time until the SWAT team killed him. He said that it was an honorable way to die by getting killed by the police, and that it was a cowardly way if he committed suicide. Approximately a month later, I hear some news about a kidnapping and that a woman was abducted, taken to Moorhead, Minnesota. I thought, I wonder if it could have been Vincent DeGidio.
Keep bringing.
So while they're getting the money and he's robbing them at gunpoint, I'm standing next to him looking around for something to hit him over the head with. There's sample stands all over the store, and the one sample stand that I need with a wrench or something to hit him over the head with is at the front of the store. And the sample stand right next to us had like long plastic piping, and you know, what good is that? That can't help me. So I literally had no weapon. I didn't know what I was gonna do. And he's kind of crouched down, putting the money in a bag. And I remember thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna kick the gun out of his hand then. The gun did not go very far at all. He got a hold of the gun again, and he was gonna kill all of us. And at that point, it's like, okay, either stand there and get shot, or at least, you know, try to get away and then get shot.
Coming up.
He's trying to turn the gun towards my face to shoot me.
It's almost like he wanted to be involved in a police shooting.
On this line of work, you got to be prepared for the worst at a moment's notice.
Is it Digidio?
I think for Vince, having a gun was his security blanket. I think that, like a lot of criminals, hid behind the gun and he was insecure. Once he realized that gun wasn't gonna keep me from trying to live, he suddenly kind of got insecure and didn't really know what he was doing. While I was fighting with Vince, the two male employees called 911.
Call the police.
Something popped into my mind that I remembered when I was a little girl. My older brother, Brooker, one of his best friends, came over and he was in the army and he taught me a move. He said, whenever anyone is trying to hurt you, you apply pressure under their nose and push really hard. That is a very painful thing. I don't know why I remember that, but I did it and it worked. It worked great. My main concern was that gun and keeping the barrel away from my face. So while we're fighting and hitting, I saw the barrel turn towards my face, dead on. My eyes were looking in the barrel, and I remember thinking, he's trying to turn the gun towards my face to shoot me, and I see the barrel, and so I keep just turning the barrel away, and we just keep fighting.
Ashley and Vincent Digidio were now in an active fight, punching and kicking each other. I think Ashley Ware was getting the best of Vincent Digidio, where Vincent Digidio probably bit off more than he could chew, if you will.
I think Vince was probably thinking, well, I picked the wrong girl to kidnap tonight.
Hello?
911, what's the answer to your emergency?
Hey, come 2303 Highway 10 East. We're getting robbed.
Hey, what do you mean by robbed?
Guy in here with a gun.
Does he know that you're calling?
No, I'll put the phone down so he doesn't. Can you come here quick, please?
and fired.
I heard the volley of shots, and there was silence on the radio. I'm literally just praying that no officers get hit at this point. I heard some officers on the radio that there were no officers down.
No officers hit. Suspect.
10-4, we have a 600 unit route, code 3.
221 to Zebra 5. Zebra 5. Hi, Doc. Suspect is down. 10-4.
I went around the corner of the building, and that's when we found Vincent DeGidio laying in the lawn. You could tell that something was wrong. He was like an animal that was wounded that couldn't do anything. He was looking at us. He didn't say a word. He couldn't move. There was his weapon, a .22 semi-automatic pistol laying beside him. It's almost like he wanted to be involved in a police shooting. He raised a handgun at armed police officers. He knew what the outcome would be.
I was taken in an ambulance to the hospital, and from there, the police did show up and they interviewed me again and informed me that they had caught him. They had shot him down and he had survived, and that he was currently in surgery in the same hospital as me, on the floor above me.
I did see a tattoo that ran across his chest, like a prison-like tattoo that said "No surrender." To me, that gave some validity to he's capable of killing, like he said he would.
From birth, he had nothing around him but negativity and crime and drugs and alcohol, and the environment he grew up in. He didn't ever get any type of education. Prison was Vince's education. Everything that he learned from criminals in these institutions. It was a ticking time bomb.
I thought he was more talk than anything. And after this happened, and I realized that his life had spiraled out of control. In Vincent's case, he grew up in a family life where there was some chemical abuse, and he couldn't comprehend a good family life. And I think that's what caused him to do the things he did as he grew up.
Hey, come on. The night's young.
We actually called the parents home one night. Received a call that his mother was severely intoxicated and wouldn't wake up. When the officers arrived there, they found that his dad and a friend of his dad were walking her around trying to get her to wake up and didn't even realize she had died. Shortly after that, we got another call to the house, and actually Vincent's sister had come home to check on her dad, and when she got there, she found he was dead. He still had the needle with him that he had used to shoot up. We'd try to connect with them and say, you don't want to end up like your dad. You don't want to be in that situation all the time, and you need to straighten yourself out and not go down that same path, or you're going to end up just like your father. Some people just don't want to change. Even though they may not be happy or everything might not be right, that's a comfortable type of life for them to lead. And you just can't make them change.
I've always had a good rapport with Vincent DeGidio. When he got out of prison, I don't believe he tried to turn his life around. I think the death of his parents, the loneliness, and the prison life, he came out of prison hardened and destined to either go back or to die. If given a different life, he may have been a different person.
We can explain why the criminal does what he does, and it doesn't mean it's okay. It just means that we understand what happened. And we know that early childhood development is critical in creating career criminals.
When I think about Vincent DeGidio, I feel bad for him. I mean, the kid had a rough life growing up.
There was something in his eyes that was void of any empathy. You know, he wasn't what you see on TV for a criminal. He wasn't a big man at all. But he just had a look like he didn't care if he was going to live or die that night.
Police say it all started at around 9 last night in North Fargo when DeGidio forced a woman into her car at gunpoint.
There was no prior acquaintance between the suspect and the victim.
The suspect followed her into the store, pistol whipped her, and then proceeded to rob the two employees at gunpoint.
That's when police say DeGidio ran. When police tracked him down, he opened fire with the handgun.
No officer was hit, but numerous shots were fired by the suspect. Gunshots were fired by police officers at the scene, and he was struck.
Vincent, he had once said that he would be a hero if he got in a shootout with the cops and died that way. He failed at that as well.
One of the rounds entered the body, striking his spine, causing paralysis.
The punishment he wanted was to die, but the punishment he got was that he was paralyzed and sent back to prison.
The entire experience of being kidnapped, held at gunpoint, has changed me. That is something no one should ever have to endure.
After the attack, Ashley withdrew a little bit. She would lay in bed and I think she just, going through that trauma is just a scary thing. She still would pull herself up and, get herself to work. And, eventually she came out of it. But I think you may even still have nightmares about that happening.
I actually had asked the cops, do you think he had been watching me for a while through the windows? And they said that's definitely a possibility. He could have been watching me, and all he knew was that a girl lived there, and she was an easy target.
I'm sorry, we met?
Or so he thought. Vincent was charged with kidnapping me, and it became a federal case because he took me over state lines and being in possession of a firearm when he was a felon.
Vincent DeGidio is serving a total of 346 months in prison for his actions, which is just short of 29 years. If Ashley Ware would have made it into that RV, there's a great chance that she would not have made it out of the RV alive. The owner of the RV had told us that he had left it there for the winter to store it, and that he completely cleaned it out so that there should not be anything in there. And so we searched that RV, and we did find things like in one of the cabinets there was a roll of duct tape and rope. She could have been left in there essentially for months without us finding her and without any knowledge of what happened or or where she even was.
It was very important for me to forgive Vincent DeGidio. It's just what you do. It's part of my faith. And you forgive, and you heal, and you move on, and you be positive, and you try to use it for the better.
Everybody in my family feels for her and feels horrible that she had to go through that situation. We're just all glad that she's okay.
Ashley Ware is a warrior. She didn't give up. She's a fighter. She has a strong will. She's a strong personality. A lot of people in her situation have given up or do give up and don't have that mentality of, I'm going to make it through.
I was not surprised because she is strong and she can take care of herself, and I think she's a hero at heart.
The difference between a victim and a hero is perception. Both people have survived, and anybody who survived is a hero. And I think that it's a really powerful way to sort of view whatever trauma, whatever experience has happened, to say, I'm not a victim, I'm a hero, and I kick ass.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I think it's gonna be okay.
As a nurse, Ashley had to deal with countless situations that were very intense emotionally, but she was required to function very strategically and thoughtfully. That is the job description for healthcare professionals, is to be able to handle these intense emotional situations with calm, rational, logical thought. That's why we respect them and trust them.
A couple years later, I had Ashley, and she was the attending nurse to a victim of another assault. And she says, "You don't know who I am, do you?" And I looked at her name tag, so it was Ashley. She was doing what she wanted to do, and that she'd survived this. And here she's tending to an assault victim. Full circle.
It's important for me to share my story for other women and with other women, because they need to know that there are lots of different ways that you can fight back and save yourself or prevent yourself from getting in a worse situation.
Every person's different, and you don't know how you're going to react when you're put into this situation. I would like to think that when people talk about things like this, they see that Ashley's been able to escape death.
A young family's fate hanging in the balance.
We were dangling off of the side of a bridge.
An incredible rescue. And every...
How can anybody survive this?
Second.
Mom, help!
Counts.
I remember the firemen saying, whatever we do, we have to do it fast, because we're losing this one.
All new in an instant. Next Saturday, 9/8 Central on ABC.
WCVB News Center 5 at 11 starts right now.
Tributes and turmoil in Dallas. Fallen officers honored as the area near police headquarters faces a new threat.
While in Boston, on the march amid calls for change.
If we work as a group, we can be able to stop the violence and maybe bring more peace.
How community has become the focus.
Wild Ride, the car that came crashing down from a Brighton overpass.
I saw the whole thing. I just don't know how it's possible.
What it took for everyone to walk away.
We've got some big summer swings coming. Cool and wet right now with July heat close behind. My latest timeline.
Wish granted, a little girl battling a rare disease gets a surprise to beat the band. Breaking news in the aftermath of the Dallas ambush. Dallas police headquarters on lockdown today because of a credible threat. The Dallas police have now issued an all clear after a search for a suspicious person. Good evening, I'm Rondella Richardson.
And I'm Reed Lamberty, and as ABC's Marcy Gonzalez reports from Dallas now. Emotions are raw, but there are signs of healing.
Broken hearts and already frayed nerves met by new fears for Dallas police. A threat and a man reportedly spotted inside the parking garage attached to police headquarters, sparking a huge response. The SWAT team deployed, canines searching the garage, but never finding the man or anything suspicious. The department still on heightened alert.
People are laying their lives on the line for people that they don't even know.
Officers on edge after 5 of their brave colleagues were gunned down by a lone sniper late Thursday. Micah Johnson killed at the scene, telling authorities he was angry about the recent shooting deaths of black men by police and had set out specifically to murder white officers.
Demented individual who carried out those attacks in Dallas, he's no more representative of African Americans than the shooter in Charleston was representative of white Americans.
President Obama speaking at the NATO summit in Warsaw, addressing the ambush in Dallas and those police-involved shootings in Louisiana and Minnesota, which this weekend are inspiring more protests.
No justice, no peace, no races, no peace.
Across the country.
Black lives matter! Black lives matter!
While here in Texas, quiet gestures of unity and gratitude. And so many are still showing that appreciation and respect out here tonight for police, including the 7 who were injured in the ambush. We learned today at least 2 of them are now home from the hospital. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Dallas.
And of course, the impact of the Dallas ambush is reaching across the country.
News Center 5's Sarah Conji reports here in Boston, police and community are taking action in response to the deadly attack.
Whole streets! Whole streets! Whole streets! Whole streets!
Hundreds marching through Roxbury in the name of the Black Lives Matter movement.